Hello and welcome. This is Rachel from the Dotting Center. Today I'm bringing you a full tutorial on this happy, colorful dot mandala painting. I'll show you how to use my reversible Lotus stencil for a quick and easy start. Then we'll explore the differences between DecoArt Americana liquid and premium paints. I'll show you how to design different dot patterns, and also how to use applicator bottles to apply the premium paint for thick, plumpy, juicy dots. I learned so much from this project, and it was a true joy to paint this painting. I cannot wait to share it with all of you. By the way, thank you so much for joining me on my painting journey and subscribing to my channel. It really does mean a lot. Now let's go ahead and dive right in because we have a lot to cover. This painting can be painted flat using DecoArt liquid paints and standard dotting tools, as you see here. And in this video, I show you both methods so that you can pick how you'll do your painting based on the tools that you have and what level of dot plump you're looking for. Now, along with the tools, you'll also need my 12-inch Lotus stencil. It's reversible, and I'll show you that, as well as the 12-inch wood panel. Now, I am using all DecoArt paints in this project. I'm going to show you the main difference. If you use DecoArt Americana liquid paints, they work beautifully with standard dotting tools, but they dry flat. Now, if you're looking for 3D puffy dots, Americana premium paints are a medium body paint that dry nice and puffy and plumpy, but you do have to use applicator bottles or henna cones to make sure that you get enough paint applied in a thick manner so that it dries nice and textured. Okay, so to start off with, I have this 12-inch wood panel, and I'm going to give it a base coat with this satin paint. It's Coastal Waters. It's like a turquoise paint, real pretty. Now, it's satin, which I should know this by now, but using a satin paint for your base coat when you're going to use a stencil is not the best idea, and I'll show you what happens. I didn't do this for the video. This is just a bonus mistake, just to show you what happens when you try to draw chalk lines on a satin paint using a chalk pencil. See, it's a slippy surface, and it doesn't want to accept your pencil. But guess what, guys? There is a fix for this. It's DecoArt Chalk Finish Medium, and this stuff is amazing. Basically what it does is it adds some chalky grit to whatever acrylic paint that you have. As long as it's a satin finish down to matte, you can make that paint a chalkboard paint. I know, it's exciting. It's pretty awesome. I was really not enjoying buying chalkboard paints because they come in yucky colors. So this fixes that. Now look at that. Isn't that glorious? Oh, it solves such a problem, and I love it. I love it. It just works. Okay, so this is the Lotus stencil, and it is reversible. So once you're done tracing one side, you just simply flip it right over, line up your center registration mark, and trace the other side to complete the design. See, now isn't that cool? You just get to skip all the mathy bits and go straight into the color and the paint. Prep time is cut in like quarters. So easy. Now, we all love DecoArt Americana liquid paints. These are perfect for dotting rods and tools and stylus tools. They are liquid, they have a high flow rate, but they dry flat. Now, I want plumpy dots, so I asked DecoArt, can I try your premium paints? And they were like, sure. So check it out. It's a medium body acrylic. It maintains its shape. It does not work with rods, however, because when you use them, see how it applies? It has that peak, but that happens to be perfect for use with applicator bottles and henna cones, as you will see later in the video. Okay, so we're going to use my 3/4 inch dotting stamp to make the first dot, and I'm using a rod, so I want to use the DecoArt liquid acrylic paint. And we're just going to throw down the first few dots using a stylus tool right in the center. And I'm using that pretty coral paint for those first few dots. Now using a slightly smaller stylus, I'm going to add a little red dot in between each one of those coral dots. Now switching to a small rod, I'm just going to place a dot at every other intersection, and you can see where those the V's that come down towards the center, that's where you want them to line up. And now with the same size rod, I'm going to switch to a red color and fill in every other space. Now our dots have extended outward far enough from the center that we are touching the Lotus guidelines. So I'm going to take that coral paint and add a dot outside that magenta and alternate to the magenta using a stylus and just do every other dot. So here we are walking the dots with yellow, with each of those extending rays that are coming out and just ending right where that intersection line crosses. Okay, so here are the first drop shapes of the painting, and in order to do this, I'm using a rod to drop in the dot, and you want to make sure there's enough paint so that it can actually move and shape into a pointed end. And then I use my flat silicone tool, my largest 1/4 inch silicone tool, to shape the end into a point. Now I do realize that this is a 2-tool process, and so it might seem a little clunky, and it seemed that way to me at first too, but once you get used to it, it becomes something fun that you can add in your painting tool belt. But I will show you, I'm going to hint to something later, which is these nozzle applicator tips make drops a breeze. And at this point in the painting, I didn't know just how glorious they were. This was actually my first painting using them. So yeah, wait till you see what those things can do. It's pretty awesome. So here we're just going to use that coral paint and walk the dots around each of the curved sections of those drops all the way around. So now using a rod that fits within that next leaf shape, make a big, huge dot right in that center point. And then using a smaller size rod that you can dry fit, just to make sure that it fits perfectly, you can add more drops. Okay, so here is this technique one more time, up close and in real time. And I want you to just watch this. This is going to be the last time that I go slow on this particular shape, because we got a lot to cover, people. This is a long video. It's going to be a 3-parter. Holy moly, strap in. This is a fun one though, so I am really happy that you can share this with me, and if you make this painting, please tag me. I would love to see it. So here I take a second and draw out, basically design my next dot pattern for the next set of shapes. So at this point, I decided to grab my compass and make a circle that extended out from the center. And what this does is it breaks up that next row of petals, and it gives you a closer guideline so that you can make sure that all of the decorative elements that you use are within the same distance of that line. So it just kind of breaks it up into smaller, more manageable shapes. And right here, I decided to make this really long extended drop shape. So here's this technique up close, and it's basically like those smaller drop shapes, except you really want to make sure that you have a lot of liquid acrylic applied to that dot. The more you have, the longer you can extend the tail on that ray-like shape. Just use your stylus tool to drag it out and shape it. Now for most of this painting, what I'm doing is doing a different dot pattern in every other petal section. In previous videos, what I've done is I've done each row exactly the same in every petal space, but for variation, I wanted to show you that you can mix up the patterns and make it a little bit more interesting. Okay, so now using that bronze paint, I'm just going to apply 2 little swooshes on either side of those extra long drop shapes. So would you all like to see a PDF pattern of this design? One that you can print out on paper and practice first? If so, let me know in the comments below. If you want a PDF pattern, just say, "Pattern please," and I will dutifully make one for you. Maybe. If you ask nicely, I'll think about it. I'm not promising anything, but you know. So here we do 2 small swooshes on either side, and then 2 little tiny dots to fill in that section right at the bottom of that long drop shape. Okay, now we're going to add a yellow ray that just extends from the inside section of the in-between petals all the way down to that intersection point. And now we're going to put 2 swooshes on either side of that big yellow swoosh all the way around. Now we'll add a yellow dot right on top to finish. Now that yellow is the DecoArt Premium paint, which as you can see was a little too thick there, so I thinned it out with some pouring medium and got it to the right consistency to use with rods. More swooshes. By the way, this paint is really nice. This bronze paint, it is extremely shiny and really easy to work with. Now, one thing that is not easy to work with is my videographer, who I can't fire. Sorry about the shaky video, but yeah, I can't fire her. She's around all the time. Can't get rid of her. And she's all I got right now. So this is a cute little decorative element. It's a little dot with two little swoosh flourishes on either side. And I used a larger stylus end for that inside section, and then a smaller stylus for the two little tiny swooshes surrounding it. So from this top-down view, you can really see how that circle that I added with my little kitty compass really helps break up that leaf shape so that you know where to place your dot and your swoosh within the petal. It's very easy to get lost in in those different shapes, so it's nice to have kind of a point to touch base with. So now we're going to use coral and surround those shapes with dots. Just walk the dots on either side of those bronze shapes. Okay, so here is the moment that we've all been waiting for, or at least the moment that I have been waiting for. The time where I get to use this premium paint in my applicator bottles. Now, no mixing is required. This is straight from the bottle right into my applicator bottle. Put the nozzle tip on, and then I'm going to pick this one, which has a nice gauge. It should make a nice big fat drop. And we're going to check it out right here. Ooh. Ah. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my tiny micro dot flat silicone tool and extend out that drop shape into a spiky long drop. And I'm going to do that for each of these petals. Now this is my first time using this paint with these applicator bottles, and you can see it's so cute. I'm like timid about it. I'm not really quite sure how fast it's gonna come out. I don't know how these drops are gonna dry. Yeah, so this is the part where I have no idea what's about to happen. I don't know if this paint's going to dry flat. I don't know if it's going to fail miserably. I'm hoping that it works, but yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. Okay, so now I grab my stylus tool again, and I'm going to surround those drop shapes with some magenta dots. Okay, so this marks the end of part 1 for this Lotus mandala, but I'm going to show you some sneak peeks for the next video, where we're going to use more applicator bottles, we're going to apply thicker dots, and I'm going to show you some new shapes. Now, in this second video, I start to gain confidence with these applicator bottles and start to realize that they're actually much easier to use than I thought. We're going to learn different dot patterns using swooshes. I'm going to show you how to use micro dots, silicone tools for micro dots, and we're just going to have a great old time. We're going to finish this, and I really love this project. I hope you did. If If you like this video, hook a girl up with a like, and maybe subscribe to my channel and hit that little bell so that you know whenever I drop a new video. Thanks again for watching, and have fun painting. I'll see you next time.